Family history is one of the most important things in life. Our ancestors have had amazing survival stories and success stories, victories and losses. When you know these stories, you become empowered. You believe in yourself and you can pass on that strength to your children and grandchildren. I wish I still had all that hair.
What would you tell that Gilad?
I would say, keep doing your stuff, you'll get there. It's worth it. I believe it was all meant to be. My grandparents saw in me something as a small kid. Maybe because I looked very serious to them, very passionate, very interested in listening to stories.
הוא תמיד היה ילד עם הבנה עמוקה, לא רק אינטלקטואלית, גם הבנה של בני אדם ושל התנהגות.
This is the suitcase that my grandfather used to travel from Bialystok to Israel. Inside, there are just amazing genealogical treasures. My love for old photos was one of the main drivers into my love for genealogy. I feel that history is alive and that I'm touching it. I'm a little bit a part of it. In Israel, around the age of 13, in almost every school, you need to submit a mandatory school project about your family roots.
אז הוא בא לדבר איתי. הוא אהב לשמוע את הסיפורים האלה. זה דיבר אליו. לילדים אחרים זה פחות חשוב. מה אכפת להם, הדוד הזה או הדודה הזאת?
Genealogy is like detective work. You need to find the truth and the facts from very little evidence.
אני הייתי מנהלת הספרייה הלאומית, ושם יש ארכיון. כבר אז לא ידעתי להשתמש בארכיון כמו שהוא השתמש, זה כבר היה נטוע בו בגיל. בבית התחיל לעבוד על שורשים. בהתחלה זה לא דובר על חברה, בתור תחביב.
I went deeply into interviewing my relatives and I wrote a pretty big project and submitted it with much pride to my teacher. And she wrote, my project is amazing and should serve as an example for others who want to study their roots.
אני לא תיארתי לעצמי שהוא כל כך מוכשר. מתברר שהוא היה עוד יותר מוכשר ממה שאני חשבתי.
Very early on, I picked up computers and programming. This is the first contract that I've ever signed with my father. When I was about 14 years old, it lists all the terms and conditions that I promised to do in return for getting my first computer. Everybody thought, oh, this is a computer geek. But today there are many computer geeks. I was the only one. I went to the army and I became an officer. I thought maybe I could use my programming skills to do useful things for the military base. I started coding in machine language, software, and help everybody in the base.
הוא היה עובד 72 שעות רצוף. זה הוא אימץ לעצמו שם, אף אחד לא דרש ממנו.
And after about 4 years, I left the army, and a friend of mine called me up.
We were recruiting people to analyze viruses. We recruited students, and one of those students was Gilad Japhet.
He said, look, I'm working for this high-tech company called BRM Technologies in Jerusalem. I'm a virus buster. I write code that can detect and remove those computer viruses. How about you join me in this company? You'll be good at it.
One of the summers in his studies, we had to write some kind of a program that we said, okay, Gilad, this is your project for the summer. So the guy went into a room for, I think, like 30 hours straight. So he called me, look, I did an analysis of all the competition in CAM. I see a huge matrix and all over the wall. This is all our competitors. This is all the important features of the software. That's the map. This competitor is this, that competitor is this. And this is what we are going to do in the next month and a half, which was close to impossible, and he did it.
BRM Technologies were paying me about $100 for every virus that I was able to handle. And I was doing 5, 10, 20 a day. So the CEO of BRM called me up. Gilad, we have a problem with you. You're making too much money. So instead of being a freelancer because we cannot afford to continue hiring you, how about we hire you full-time as an employee and you become the manager of the virus buster operation. Make other people be like you. I felt that I was a warrior of justice, fighting for good in detecting and removing the viruses. BRM created a new company called Backweb. The CEO of Backweb called me from California and he said, Gilad, SOS, we need you. There was a disconnect between the engineering and the customers, what is today called product management. I relocated to the Silicon Valley, and for 2 years, I helped define the features of the product and work with the customers. And we went public around 1999. I was with my girlfriend, Tammy, and she was beginning to tell me, let's go back to Israel and get married. So I followed her advice. I need to return to Israel. Chutzpah does not really have a translation. That is why in English you use the term chutzpah. Chutzpah is very important for an entrepreneur. Having the cheek, having the nerve to think different, to not accept no for an answer, to do something that despite everyone having told you that you cannot succeed, that you have no chance to win, against all odds. You could say that it all started in year 2000. I wanted to combine my passion for programming with my passion for genealogy. Back then, genealogy was done with pen and paper. Lots of charts, lots of documents, lots of historical records, and I wanted good software so that I could build a family tree and enter all the photos and build the family history in one location. So I said I have to build my own. My vision was use the technology of tomorrow to research the past. And then I started thinking about a commercialization of the idea. Family history is a treasure, and with every day that goes by, it goes extinct. What if we can save these treasures? What if we can encourage users to preserve their family tree, enter the family trees, scan the photos before they are sold off, given away, thrown away? Then we could save the world's history. So I went to my fresh, newly wedded wife and kind of asked for permission. How about that I create a startup company from genealogy? Probably it will fail, but I will be doing what I love. Should I do it? And she said, you must do it. So how do you start a startup company? Bootstrap. I will finance the company from my own pocket, but I understand that I need a team. I call talented people that I know.
I had no idea what genealogy was when I joined the company.
I love to hear family stories, but I never investigated my family. And I didn't know anyone who did it besides Gilad.
How will you generate money out of this project? It was not that clear.
We are not sure if someone can make genealogy into such an amazing product, but if someone in the world is able to do that, that would be Gilad.
הרגשתי שזה לא איזשהו רעיון כזה קיקיוני או עוד איזשהו גימיק, אלא זה משהו עם המון המון value, רצון לשמר את המורשת של המשפחה, משהו שמגיע מתוך הבן אדם עצמו, אז הרגשתי את הברק בעיניים שלו.
We set up a beautiful, family-looking environment.
The best office that one can imagine. It has a lot of character.
There was this atmosphere of we're all farmers. I felt that I was part of this new community called MyHeritage.
It was a very family kind of thing in a moshav with chickens outside.
כל אחד שהיה נכנס לרעיון עבודה, היה אומר, וואי, חשבתי שהגעתי למקום הלא נכון.
The software was launched and it was becoming popular. But my money ran out. It could no longer be a bootstrap. I had to raise money.
פשוט הלך לכל קרנות הסיכון שהיו בארץ בשנת 2004. כולן, ללא יוצא מהכלל. נתן פרזנטציות, בא, הסביר, ניסה, התחנן, וכולן, ללא צמא כלל, אמרו לא.
We don't like genealogy, we don't like you, we don't like the business. All the doors were shut in my face. At least 30 investors gave me a negative, but I would not stop because I was sure that this is an amazing business and that I would prove everybody wrong. I met the right guy, Aviv Reis.
הוא היה סוג של אנדרדוג. לא היה לו ניסיון ניהולי של להרים מערכות. יש הרבה משקיעים שאוהבים כאלה שהם כבר עשו אקזיט אחד או שניים, ואז כאילו נותנים להם כסף. לי יש אופי מאוד נון-קונפורמיסטי, ואני מאוד אוהב להשקיע בדברים שאנשים אחרים פחות מעניין אותם.
I had no big experience in fundraising, so I didn't know how these meetings were supposed to go. But I told them about my vision and what I wanted to do.
רציתי לעזור לו להרים את זה. לא שדמיינתי באותו רגע שתצא פה חברה מטורפת, שיכולה להגיע לשווים של הרבה מאות מיליוני דולרים, ומחירות של מאות מיליוני דולרים, ורווחים מטורפים. וזה הרבה יותר יפה שזה קרה כאילו כנגד, against all odds.
And then I contacted Yuval, and I said, Yuval, how about you invest personally?
I didn't know what will become out of this, but I knew that if there is a company that has a chance to succeed, it's this one, because really all the stars were standing in a row. I trusted Gilad because I knew him. I knew his passion for history, and I was already saying that the archaeologists of the future are going to be very poor. Because today everything is written on the media that unless you have a mediating instrument, you cannot read it. Unlike when you find a papyrus or something written in stone, you can read it thousands of years later. If it was not intended to be preserved, the people in the future will know about nothing about us. That's something that bothered me. The idea of MyHeritage really connected all the dots.
If you think about all the data, all the stories, names, facts, photos, videos, on MyHeritage we have saved so much that would not otherwise have been preserved. This is what we will continue to do until we reach every corner of the globe. All of us are related, and all of us can learn from family trees of other users, but you need technology to match the people in your tree with all the other trees. There was one brilliant company doing it, offering itself for sale. The entrepreneur was Cliff Shaw, and his company was called Pearl Street Software. One investor who liked me was Michael Eisenberg. And I said, Michael, there is a challenge. There is a company that has technology that I need. It costs millions of dollars. I don't have the money. What do I do? He said, Gilad, the role of an entrepreneur is to create the reality you need. Get the hell out of my office. You should go right now to the airport with these clothes. Don't even stop to change. Fly to meet Cliff Shaw and tell him you have the money and you're coming to buy it. When you have the deal secured, come to me and I'll give you the money. I flew over and I told him, yeah, I have the money, and I got a deal ready. Michael Eisenberg was an amazing mentor for me, and without the acquisition of the Pearl Street Software with the matching technology, perhaps MyHeritage would not have been as successful as it was. I started working on the family tree, but I also did a lot of interviews with my relatives, and I scanned their old photo albums. And I would show them to the other relatives who could recognize the people in them. So I saw that there was an amazing collaboration that was going on with the old photos. Facial recognition technology was available in the world, but it was only used at airports to catch terrorists. Nobody thought of using it for consumer purposes, and definitely not for family history or genealogy. And I had suddenly a eureka moment, a vision that I could use facial recognition technology from the anti-terrorist systems in the airports to find other pictures of my grandparents. And I was thinking about a product network effect, a system where everybody uploads photos. You would teach the system what my grandfather looks like, and it would find my grandfather in other people's photos.
When you come to talk about art, okay, for example, Picasso or Van Gogh or whatever, what makes these artists very special is that they were the first to introduce something to the world. They were the first to use canvas in this specific way. So now everybody are talking about AI. And face recognition is commodity. You have it in every product around you. People, behave as if it was always there. But 20 years back, that was really, really amazing.
I booked a flight to visit Alfredo Herrera, the CEO of Cognitech, the best developer of facial recognition technology for catching terrorists in airports. And I told him, look, your software can detect people in photos, and I want to use it on the internet. He said, are you crazy? Turns out that he was a privacy fanatic, and he is the kind of guy who would never upload a photo to the internet. He said, look, my software costs 100,000 euro per server. Buy as many servers as you want. And I said, there's a little problem. I don't have any money. And he said, you know what, I like you. Take my software for free. I needed to train the system. And the answer is celebrities. If you want photos of Madonna, you can download 10,000 examples. Even on the internet of 20 years ago, you could download thousands of examples of celebrities. Sometimes accidents lead to discoveries and inventions. I uploaded my photo by mistake, and it compared me by mistake to all the celebrities. And they decided that I look like John McEnroe, the tennis player. And in that photo, I really looked like John McEnroe. So I thought, that's interesting. If you can upload a photo and the system picks a celebrity that looks like you, people are going to want that feature. This is not genealogy. This is not family history. But let's do something viral and popular. Let's get noticed. And it's an overnight success.
Servers were booming, and we couldn't figure out what the heck is going on.
אנחנו במוד שאנחנו מרגישים שאולי אפילו פרצו לנו לשרתים, כי יש שימושיות יתר על כל השרתים, אנחנו בקושי עומדים בטראפיק.
Gilad found out that there's a day called the doppelganger day, where everybody will try to find out to which celebrity do they look the most.
There were probably more than 100 million photos that were uploaded in a very short time. And our website was down because there was too much demand.
ואנחנו מבינים שאנחנו מקום ראשון בחנויות אפליקציה. אנחנו מבינים שכל אתר שני באינטרנט כמעט מדבר על MyHeritage. וזו הצלחה שקשה להבין עד כמה היא מטאורית.
We appeared on all these late night shows, and everybody started hearing our name, and that was our first push in the general population.
And then I remember that I was interviewed by the Wall Street Journal. The reporter said, okay, we know you're not doing celebrities. Tell us what the real business is.
This website, MyHeritage.
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 סוכותותקימוס-אלוסטה, MyHeritage.
זה היה מדהים לראות איך שזה, את הרגע הזה, שזה פשוט כל רגע אתה מרפרש את השרת, את המסך, ואתה רואה עוד אלפים כאלה נוצרים. זה היה רגעים כאלה של magic.
During the time at the villa, we grew from 2 employees to more than 30. It became clear that we need a bigger office. And then our velocity really took off.
זה לא משרד שגרתי, זה משרד יוצא דופן. אני זוכרת שפתחתי בפעם הראשונה את הפריג'ידר. לא האמנתי למה שאני רואה שם. חדר כושר, צריך שיהיה, וביד רחבה.
Deep nostalgia was amazing. That there are 2 main media forms in the world, photos and videos, and no one has thought of the idea of converting one to the other. It's like, how did they never think of it before? When I saw the demo of the technology, I completely understood the value that this would have for genealogy, for bringing photos back to life, and especially for deceased people, or people who lived before the age of video. They were never on video, but now you can create a short, meaningful video of them from a photo. And I wanted this feature to be respectful. So we created drivers of people moving their face in a thoughtful way, thinking, smiling. How would you like your grandfather to be seen? And then I thought, how do I make it a viral success? So we planned it, and we created all the ingredients of success for virality that I learned from my experience with Find the Celebrity in You in 2005. So we are now 15 years after, and I'm repeating the same secret sauce, and it was an overnight success.
וואו, מה עשינו כאן?
We had failure when people were signing up too quickly, like thousands per minute or per second signing up.
מאות אלפי אנשים נרשמים לאפליקציה שלנו. אנחנו שוב פעם לא עומדים בעומס, כי הדימנד הוא יותר מדי גדול.
I'm on a phone call with Ran Levy, head of R&D. Ran, I'm looking at the graphs. We need to summon an emergency. Bring everyone to the office now. No. We will work on it from home, remotely. We will add more servers. It will be okay. No, Ran. Come now and bring everyone.
אני זוכר שנציג מגוגל התקשר אליי ואמר לי, מה עשיתם? לא ראינו טראפיק כזה לאפליקציות המון זמן.
את הכוח של הדבר הזה, של לעשות דברים נכונים, עם PR נכון, כמה שאתה יכול לדחוף עסק, בלי שאתה מבזבז כסף לשלם על מודעות וכל מיני דברים כאלה.
But to be viral, you need to show something to the world for the very first time. And this is where the magic happens. MyHeritage has the skills of doing it again and again. They say that the lightning never strikes the same place twice. MyHeritage made the lightning strike 3 times. We did it with Find the Celebrity in You, we did it with Deep Nostalgia, and we did it with the AI Time Machine. And we will do it again. MyHeritage gives everyone the tools to become curious and to do the research and to find the stories. We empower people to do this journey of exploration and then to store the materials. Every story that is documented, every photo that is saved, every name is saved from oblivion. Luck comes to those who deserve it. And it turns out that a very reputable VC called Accel was visiting Israel.
אקסל זה הקרן שלמעשה שפייסבוק הנפיקו, אז הם החזיקו 10% בפייסבוק.
The partner was Simon Levine, a very tough guy. If you're a first-time entrepreneur, and he is a very sophisticated business person, not easy to deal with. And he liked the business. And I told him, Simon, there are horror stories about VCs, that you are slow, you have lawyers that create very poor terms and conditions, but I'm giving you an opportunity to set the record straight. We like you, and we're willing to give you the $500,000 in the round if you sign today. That's chutzpah.
אמר, מה? כאילו שאנחנו אקסל נשקיע $500,000? הם לא יודעים כאילו לעשות השקעה שיותר קטנה $5 מיליון.
The deal is ready for signing. Will you sign it? He said yes. He invests $500,000, and I go and I purchase Pearl Street software and bring the smart matching technology. Acquisitions are a great way for MyHeritage to grow, whether it's by bringing in technology that we needed, or content, family trees, historical records, sometimes a talented team. We knew that we wanted to expand into historical records. A company called World Vital Records, and it was also called Family Link, was for sale. It had historical records, millions of them. But we had a serious problem. The CEO of Family Link, Paul Brookbank, he did not want to name an asking price. He thought that if I were willing to pay more and he would name a number that is lower, he would not maximize the deal. And I refused to speak out a number because if it was dramatically higher than what he would be willing, I would be overpaying. The negotiation was stuck. I thought about it and I invented a new business model to resolve the deadlock. Each of us will put in an envelope the number. I will put my maximum, you will put your minimum. We will send it to that trusted third party and we will have one go. And if my maximum is above your minimum, we will agree to go midway. It turns out that the difference between my maximum and his minimum was razor thin. We were thrilled that the negotiation was successful. We imported all the historical records into MyHeritage, and we wanted to launch a search engine.
When we did this purchase, it was in 2012. That was the year that the US would publish the 1940 census. So the US publishes censuses 72 years after they happened, and they become completely public. The way we digitized it is really into like mini families, where they were, who was alive then, who married whom, and so on. So that was that big step that we made, and another stream of revenue, of course, that we didn't have before.
We wanted to surprise everyone. When the 1940 census were to go live, we would have the census with a new search engine, and we would knock everybody off their feet. We knew in advance that the NARA, the National Archive in the US, will release the images of the 1940 census to all the parties on the same day. Ancestry, Family Search, MyHeritage, but we wanted to be the first to publish the images, and later to create an index and to publish the index. The problem was that it was a race against time. The meeting with NARA, Ancestry sent a private helicopter. NARA gave the discs with the data to all the parties. You had to pay some money, and Ancestry flew them in a private helicopter to get a head start of a few hours on everyone else. And we were there with a rental car, but we had Sagi Bashari, our genius CTO. Sagi studied in advance the type of discs that we were going to get from NARA. The data was encrypted, and it was very slow to copy the data from the discs. Sagi figured out that if he will dismantle the discs and connect to them in parallel instead of serially, he can read the data much faster. So we were able to reverse engineer the disks, tear them apart, copy the data first, and we released the images of the census many days before Ancestry and everyone else. There used to be a blogger called Ancestry Insider, and he wrote, "I'm shocked by these guys at MyHeritage. The MyHeritage horse came out of nowhere and won the race." But our money was running out, and the funds that we had raised from Excel were drawing thin, and it was clear that we needed to raise more funding. The company that we connected with that seemed interested was Index, and we were supposed to have an important dinner with the entire Index team in Israel to impress them. I told Aviv Reis, "Aviv, it's your time to shine." Aviv is friends with all the chefs in Tel Aviv. It was the best dinner that all of us have had in our lives. It was such a success that it warmed up the atmosphere so much that it laid the ground to a successful negotiation and to close the round. The year was 2012. And we met Adam Fisher from Bessemer. Adam joined the board of directors, and he went into the driver's seat. The condition that Adam Fisher made from Bessemer is that he will not invest unless we acquire Genie.com. Genie shocked the world because their first round of financing was with a valuation of $100 million. So the guy who founded Genie was David Sachs. And David Sachs was a hotshot founder. He later was head of Yammer, which he sold for $1 billion to Microsoft.
והוא בא עם רעיון על הנייר, עוד היה לו כלום, שום דבר. אפילו לא היה לו את רמת התחביב שהיה לגלעד מכיתה ו' עד גיל 30 ומשהו שהכרתי אותו. פתאום אנחנו רואים שהוא גייס $10 מיליון לפי $100 מיליון. ואנחנו השתגענו.
They thought they would rule the world, take over MyHeritage and the other competition.
גלעד היה סופר מתוסכל מזה, ואמרתי לו, גלעד, תרגע, בוא, אנחנו רצי מרתון. תזכור מה אני אומר לך, אמרתי לו. יום יבוא, אנחנו נקרא את החברה הזאת.
They didn't execute so well. And in 2012, their owners wanted to sell them out. We managed to arrange a pretty good deal, and we acquired Genie. Each of us is like a time capsule that has encoded secrets of the identity of our ancestors. The answers are inside us. We needed to make a quantum leap in growth. And it was clear to me that this should come from DNA.
And it was a big operation because until then, everything that we did was really just computers and software. Suddenly it became logistics, sending kits and getting them back, and the mail and packaging and all kinds of things that were a completely different level of business.
I needed to have a DNA database in order to have a high-quality DNA product. But I needed the high-quality DNA product to build the DNA database. The second problem was the database was empty. You would get no matches. So this is what I said. A lot of our users were tested on DNA at Ancestry or 23andMe or other companies before. We emailed them and we said, we are building a new DNA product. We are giving you the option to upload your DNA data to MyHeritage, and it will be free forever for you to get the results. If you don't do it now, it will not be free. Here I used to my advantage the fact that neither Ancestry or 23andMe wanted to support uploads. I had nothing. I was willing to support uploads. So we wrote on code to import DNA data from uploads that the competitors were not willing to have. But if you upload to MyHeritage, you are going to get matches that you don't have today. Now, all the users said, wow, MyHeritage has excellent matching technologies for records and trees. Where do I sign up? We managed to get hundreds of thousands of DNA uploads even before we had a product. Using that DNA data, we developed a product. And when we launched the DNA product in November, we had a big database of hundreds of thousands of users in the database to be matched against.
It really created opportunity for unique stories of people finding their lost brothers, etc., which are extremely excited, especially if you take this in context with the Holocaust, where families were separated forcefully, and MyHeritage managed to put them back together.
Oh, what are you doing here? Oh my God! Did you know about this? Oh my God!
They say that we die twice. Once when we actually pass away, and the second time when the last person who knew us dies. We can make sure that people are commemorated and that their stories and lives would not be in vain.
When Gilad presented to our investment committee, you could tell that they were moved by these stories because MyHeritage gets you to think, it gets you to feel, it makes you emotional.
The MyHeritage spirit is to help people and to make the world a better place.
באופן חיצוני הוא עושה רושם שזה הכל רציונלי, שהכל זה עניין של שכל, של יכולת, של כישרונות, של יכולת אינטלקטואלית. באמת זה הכל עשוי עם הלב.
MyHeritage had a profound impact on me. Thanks to MyHeritage, I could reunite my father with his maternal family who he has never seen before.
People from all over the world find their family, discover their roots and their family history, entirely down to you guys.
העבודה הזו מייחדת משפחות, או אחים ואחיות, או דודים ודודות. זה לא מובן מאליו הדבר הזה. חבל על הזמן. כי לי עשיתם את החיים מטורף. מטורף מה שעשיתם לי.
At MyHeritage, we always look for opportunities to do good on a grand scale. And I want to mention a few of the amazing projects that we did, and some of them were ideas that came from the employees. At one point, 2 employees, one of them was Golan Levi, they created an idea to document the family history of tribes that are at risk of extinction. We select MyHeritage employees. We sent them so far to Namibia, Papua New Guinea, Siberia, Ecuador, Panama, to meet the people, the tribes, and to document their stories for future generations. The website is on tribalquest.org.
כסף זה עוד איזה משהו, אבל כאילו סיפוק ועוצמה של ריגוש, שקורה לך משהו טוב, או שאתה גורם למשהו טוב למישהו אחר, זה משהו כל כך עוצמתי שאי אפשר לכמת אותו בכסף בכלל.
בסופו של דבר זה פשוט נוגע באנשים וזה משנה את העולם מבחינתם, ואין יותר טוב מזה. אין יותר טוב מזה לעשות מוצר שמאפשר לאנשים להיות שמחים יותר, מאושרים יותר.
DNA Quest was another important project that started in 2018. There are many people in the world for whom biological family is the most important thing they seek.
MyHeritage will be giving away 15,000 DNA kits worth over $1 million, free to those individuals, because we believe everyone should have the opportunity to find their family.
The story with COVID is quite fascinating. We met BGI, which is the Chinese company, the Asian genetic giant that is creating sequencing machines for DNA. They built the lab at Wuhan that was managing to do 10,000 tests per day and to contain the explosion of the spread of the disease. And my head was racing. How can we help the world fight COVID when it escapes from China and becomes a global problem?
He came with a proposal that was totally outside the business model of the company. And Gilad told me, look, we're going to build a lab in 2 weeks.
I said we must, because we can. If high-tech won't save the world, who will? BGI will provide the information and the testing kits, the chemistry. They need a very strong partner, but we had to build a lab. We never did it before.
אולי הדבר הכי גדול שעשינו בחיים. צריך להיות סוג של משוגע במובן הטוב, בשביל לעשות מהלך כמו המהלך של המעבדה. היה מצב בארץ שלא היו מעבדות בכלל. הייתה מעבדה אחת הכי גדולה בארץ של שיבה תל השומר, פה לא רחוק, שעשתה בפול קפסיטי 1,400-1,500 בדיקות ביום. ואנחנו הרמנו תוך כמה שבועות מעבדה שתוך חודש ומשהו עשתה 20,000 בדיקות ביום. ובגל השני, שבא אחרי זה, הגענו ל-39,000 בדיקות ביום. זאת אומרת, היינו 40% מהבדיקות במדינת ישראל.
Nimrod Maimon was the head of the project to save the old age homes. And he was working with MyHeritage. He devised a system where instead of testing people randomly, let's focus on the caregivers, the staff. They're going into the old age homes and leaving, and they're bringing the virus with them from the outside. So a national project was formed, Magen Avot, and we were the lab designated to work with this project because we are the only ones that had the capacity to test all the old age homes every week in Israel. There's a graph of mortalities, fatalities, people who died from COVID in Israel and in the old age homes. Old age homes constituted half of the fatalities. The minute MyHeritage started working, the fatalities graph started dropping and the graph in Israel started declining. We were proud that with the COVID lab, we were no longer changing lives, now we were really saving lives.
That's Gilad. He did something that was totally out of the... and he did it perfectly, and I don't think that anybody else could have done it.
I think achieving an exit is very important, but I don't think that should be the ultimate goal. Exit means you are leaving, you are departing, you are shutting down and you're finishing. I never wanted MyHeritage to exit in that sense. Private equity, it was clear to me, would be the ideal type of exit for MyHeritage because their interest would be to look for the next exit.
As technology investors, we at Francisco Partners, our job is to create financial value for our investors. It's never the case that we invest because we're touched or moved emotionally by what a company does. At MyHeritage, there is a very strong emotional element which didn't ultimately drive our decision, but it's really what the company does and what it enables its users to do that moves and has moved all of us on the Francisco Partners side.
I wanted the MyHeritage employees to get paid and to get rewarded. I wanted the shareholders to get paid and rewarded for their trust in the company. I wanted people to be happy that they made a successful life choice, and I wanted them to be energized to continue.
We presented an offer to Gilad more than once. He decided that he likes us enough and he trusts us enough, and that's when we did the deal and became Gilad's partners on the next phase of the journey.
I didn't want to sell because I thought that it's a very, very good value. So what happened is that I sold my old shares and I bought new shares in the new company. I'm not getting out of MyHeritage unless somebody put a gun in my head.
The company remains the same. Gilad still runs the company. All the people just do the same thing. So from that perspective, it was like the best of anything that could happen to the company.
הכוכבים התחברו בצורה מסוימת שבסוף עשינו מחירה בטיימינג בדיעבד מאוד טוב.
תראה, הוא עשה החלטה שהוכיחה את עצמה 1,000%. הוא גם עמד איתם על המקח בצורה חכמה, כי הרי הם הציעו הרבה פחות בהתחלה.
It's just like a station when you're running a marathon and you take some water to drink and you continue. It's not the end of the marathon.
Where are we headed right now?
Nostalgia. Deep nostalgia. Key point for me is to see who we can recruit back.
It's been a wild ride these 20 years. I think MyHeritage is a large, successful, prosperous company that is continuing to do good, happy employees, and becoming an Israeli success story and a brand like Checkpoint, something that every Israeli would be proud of.
When we think about where the company can go from here, it's definitely focused on strengthening our position in the market globally. And the team is continuing to work on plans how to offer users more.
MyHeritage is going to leverage the latest technologies for the benefit of their customers. And not just use it in a hype manner where, everyone is doing AI, so I'll do AI, but in a meaningful way.
We're not a product that is based on a fad, something that is temporary. There is always going to be a need for it.
Ask me, what do you see MyHeritage in 30 years? And I say, well, let's say what MyHeritage will be in 100 years. It will be a memory company, a unique accumulation of humans' memories, something that causes a lot of happiness to people, something that is important to humanity.
MyHeritage is all the work of its employees. The people of MyHeritage are its true secret of success.
אתם עושים כל כך הרבה עבודה טובה לעומק, אתם יכולים לעשות דברים שלא חושבים בכלל שהם יגלו. אז תמשיכו לעשות את העבודה הנהדרת הזאת.
תודה רבה.